with Mythic MTG Tech doing a memorial video today for Christopher Rush. Christopher Rush died earlier this week, and he was one of the most influential artists on Magic the Gathering. Just an incredible artist overall. In preparation for this video, I found this animation out there from Living Cards MTG, and it really struck me. Let's take a second to watch this. It's for a promo that Living Cards put together, and just watching the Lotus there was so emotional, especially with Phyrexian Unlife directly after it. Living Cards does some really cool stuff, but it really hit me how much these cards and the artwork of Christopher Rush influenced me as a Magic player, and it was just a huge part of my growing up. I met Christopher Rush several times, just at conventions, talked to him for a few minutes. He definitely wasn't a personal acquaintance, but he was a really nice guy and a wonderful figure in the Magic community. I'm going to go over all of the cards that he created, not one by one, in the next 3 slides. I've got all of them, and just take a second and see how many you recognize right away. And then I'm going to talk about some of the most influential cards and some of the earliest cards that he did, and then close with my favorites. Christopher Rush just has such a diversity of artwork out there. He started with the very early Alpha Beta Unlimited set and continued to make artwork for Magic all the way throughout the last 20 years. And this artwork is stunning, amazing, wonderfully creative artwork that has a lot of life and vibrance to it. The most famous cards that he has created are clearly Black Lotus, Lightning Bolt, Brainstorm, and an honorable mention here to Mana Leak. These all saw massive tournament play and had some of the coolest artwork out there. Black Lotus is the most famous Magic card, the most expensive, the most powerful. When Rush was creating the artwork for it, he had no idea that it was going to be an icon for years to come. Lightning Bolt is one of my personal favorites. It is probably the most played card on this list. It's legal in pretty much every format. It has been played again and again and again, and it is the most powerful red card ever printed. So we've got the most powerful artifact, the most powerful red card, and one of the top blue cards ever created, Brainstorm here. Brainstorm came out originally in Ice Age and really hit its stride once the fetch lands came out. Mana Leak also was a defining card for Standard and sees some play in Modern. Wonderful card, really cool artwork on it. Beyond those famous cards, he had several other cards in the Alpha and Beta set. Granite Gargoyle was a very fun card. Gauntlet of Might was one of the most sought after cards very early on. All 3 of the forests were done by Christopher Rush, and Nether Spirit, another wonderful cool card, was done by him. Rod of Ruin I even tried as a win condition in a deck. Not so good, but very cool artwork. And Mana Flare has always been a casual player's favorite. Mana Barbs is a very powerful card that people didn't realize how powerful it was until years later, and it has beautiful artwork on it. Arabian Nights, the first expansion set, also had several Christopher Rush cards. My favorite of these being Rook Egg, just beautiful artwork for the dragon hiding there in the egg. All of these cards have wonderful artwork. Flying Men is great. I remember using Unstable Mutations on it to turn it into a 4/4 in an early blue aggro deck. The Desert Nomads look like something out of Star Wars. Incredible artwork. Antiquities also had some pieces of art by Christopher Rush. Tanos' coffin there is a very weird one. It allows you to exile creatures, but they keep a lot of their aspects on them and then bring them back into play. I tried playing it in a mana drain deck for a little while with the idea of using it to protect my creatures. Was not such a good idea, but it was a very fun card to play. Legends has what I consider some of his best artwork ever. The Wretched and All Hallows Eve are just incredible and very sought after cards at the time. All Hallows Eve was really the first suspend card. A little bit different templating on it before suspend had ever been created, but this idea of casting a spell, setting it aside, and then playing it later after counters came off of it started really early in Magic's history, and it's got beautiful artwork to go with a really cool card. I don't know if this is entirely accurate, and I'm sure people in the comments will correct me, but I believe that Relic Mine, which Christopher Rush did the artwork for, was the first 2-card infinite damage, infinite life combo out there. Basalt Monolith and Relic Mine together allowed you to do unlimited damage and gain unlimited life. Very cool combination. It no longer works because the later printing of Relic Mine was errated to say that you could only put it on your opponent's artifacts. Technically, Basalt Monolith could produce infinite mana before this, but you needed another card in order to turn that mana into damage unless you just wanted to die from mana burn. Relic Mine is one of those cards that just has very creative, cool artwork on it for what it's doing. The 2 cards that he has done that are the most fun to me are Niel Sylvian. Sure, I'm mispronouncing that. Very cool, fun art. And Booster Tutor is the most fun to play. He's done several of the unhinged cards, including Blacker Lotus. Very, very cool. The weirdest looking artwork, in my opinion, is the Chronotog and the Chronotog Totem. Looks like some type of an Escher Cat individual coming at you. I really like this artwork. Never got a chance to play Chronotog. Did play the Totem, though, in Time Spiral. My personal favorite cards overall are Su Chi, Tanos' Coffin, his Zombie Token, and Order of the Ebon Hand. Order of the Ebon Hand saw a lot of play early on and still sees some play in the 93-94 format. Protection from white is really valuable when the best removal in the environment is Swords to Plowshare, well, followed by Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt's pretty good removal too. The Misprints and Oddities group on Facebook has an entire thread of people showing off misprints or oddities related to Christopher Rush artwork. It should be pointed out that Wald, one of my favorite planes, was not done by Christopher Rush, even though it says that it was. The textless Lightning Bolt is probably one of the most expensive cards next to Lotus out there. This was a test print for the Judge promo. Beautiful. And a beta or alpha bolt like that, off-centered, would just be a beautiful addition to any collection out there. I recommend checking out the Misprints group and that entire thread to see some cool Christopher Rush oddities. A lot of people have asked me about value and autographs recently. This is a very difficult question. Autographs make it more difficult to sell cards, but they often have huge emotional value for whoever got those cards signed. If an autograph is really authenticated, you can have an increased value and there's a niche market for it, especially when an individual is no longer with us. It should also be noted, though, that Christopher Rush changed his signature over time. The Lotus there, where he signed up, where the set symbol is, means that it's one of his earliest signatures. He used to sign there until the expansion sets came out and there was a set symbol, and then he moved his signature and changed it a little bit as time goes on. Personally, I would love to have a playset of lightning bolts, like this beautiful altered dragon playset that's out there. To me, that increases the value significantly, both as an emotional item, but also financially. Looking through all those, I could only find forests and plains that he had done as basic lands. I was thinking about maybe I could create a casual 40 card Christopher Rush only deck to play against some friends, and it's proving to be a little bit difficult. I may have to look for extra Black Lotuses or Blacker Lotuses to play it, although with Blacker Lotus it would be a one-time deck. I think it would be a lot of fun, though, to do is have an entire deck with Christopher Rush artwork. If anybody's got one, please post some pictures. There's a wonderful interview up on Wizards' YouTube channel from Modern Masters Weekend with Christopher Rush, done by Ashlyn. Very, very nice interview. Definitely recommend checking it out. For more Magic the Gathering history and videos, subscribe to the channel. Thank you to everybody who's over there on Patreon supporting the channel. I greatly appreciate it. This has been Brian Rowe with Mythic MTG Tech.